they will be hired at the new facility. Well, no, you can't do that, Traxler. We don't want this. I said, think about it now. Every veterans organization has worked for this for years. Under the administration rules, it has to be near a teaching hospital, Wayne State. We can't do it at Allen Park. Finally, they said, okay, just let it ride for a year. Well, you're slowing the program down, but, and Dingell said, unless you do it that way, I'm going to complain to the legislative chairman that you haven't followed your House rules on this one. And I said, okay, John. So
how long? Let me change it slightly. How did you get along with all the Republicans in the Congress? Think about the relationship between members of the parties in Congress in those days, from 1974 to 1992, compared to relationships, let's say, between Republicans and Democrats in the Michigan legislature back in the 60s.
I'm going to answer. That's an important question.
Okay.
Excuse me. One of the things I do, just in concluding on the VA hospital issue, is an interesting twist here.
Right.
After the hospital was built, within a matter of a year or two, the Congress passed a resolution naming it the John Dingell VA Medical Facility. And I was thrilled with that.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
That's great.
And incidentally, also, out of the EPA budget, we put in many, many millions of dollars to Wayne County to take care of the River Rouge issues, to build holding tanks and so forth. And I gave both Dingell and Ford the information so they could claim credit.
Right.
I didn't have any voters in that area, and it was the right thing to do. The next issue was my
just the relationship between the Republicans and Democrats.
Oh, yes. When I first got to the Congress, especially on the Appropriations Committee, and even in the years later, there was a particularly close personal relationship. And it was one of those things where you could vote yes or you would vote no, but at the end of the day, like when I was in the state legislature, you still could be friends, which didn't mean every Democrat had many Republican friends. It didn't mean every Republican had many Democrat friends. It meant that there was still a sense of collegiality and decency and courtesies. And in the Congress, committees would sometimes take domestic trips, sometimes foreign trips, and wives would accompany them under those situations. And you became well acquainted with each other. You knew about your families, you knew about your spouses. It was an honorable place. Unfortunately, Bill, as time went by, and win at any cost became the norm, there developed a schism in relationship to having friends in the opposite party. And that saddened me greatly. On the subcommittee that I chaired, a Republican asked me to examine a situation in his district and see if we couldn't provide some aid and assistance for a project there. And I told him I'd certainly look at that, and I did. And so we're going to be having a meeting in a few days to take the bill up, and I wanted him to know that the problem that he had was taken care of. So he was coming off the elevator. We were having a vote. He was coming off. I was going on, and I said, Jerry, just a minute. I got to talk to you. And he said, no, not now. I'll call you. And he brushed right past me. He called me, and he said, I couldn't talk to you because I'm a candidate in my caucus for office. And
party leadership position?
It was. Mm-hmm. And I think it was policy, to head up the policy committee. And he said, my opponent, if he saw me talking to you, would use that. It was Newt Gingrich. and Gingrich beat him by one vote.
Bob Madigan, wasn't it? From Madigan, the congressman from Illinois.
This was Jerry Lewis.
Oh, it was Jerry Lewis.
From San Diego.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, he wanted a sewage treatment plant.
Right, oh, I'll be darned. That's a heck of a story. Well, look, you had a great career in Congress, 18 years. You come up on reapportionment in 1992. You're only about 60 years old, and you decide, I'm not going to run again. Why?
That's a very difficult question, and it's a very personal one, and it had to do with personal considerations. I had spent my virtual entire life, adult life, in politics, and I loved it. And I really believed in public service, and that my father always told me as a mailman that public service was a very honorable career, and next and below only the clergy in his hierarchy of values and vocations. And I had got to a point where I began to question who I was and what life was all about, and how important in my life was not having my hand out all the time to shake a hand, not having to attend meetings.
Raise money,
especially in those later years. Money became very important.
In contrast to 1962 and your $2,000 campaign.
Exactly. It was very different. And I wanted to explore the self. I don't want to sound like a
like you're going
68
existential
hippie
on us or
but
something?
Yeah.
But you just decided there might be other things in life.
Precisely. And I wanted to be able to go to the supermarket and nobody would know me. That sounds like a strange goal.
Sounds normal.
Precisely. I wanted to find out what it was to be normal. I wanted to put my own gas in my car. I wanted to take my shirts to the laundry. I never had time for that in the Congress. Some staff person would say, you got any shirts at the laundry? Yeah, I'll pick them up. They were going. Right. They were going during their lunch or whatever. Right. And they do this. And I'd say, I got to go. I got to get to the airport this afternoon. I don't know if I got enough gas. Take care of it. Give them $20 or whatever.
So once you left, you had no regrets?
None.
None. Now, it's 1992, you've decided not to run again for Congress, but you're still a politician, so you run for the MSU Board of Trustees. You're elected. What did you find when you got to be a member of that board? What was your reaction?
First of all, I understood what trusteeship was and what it meant. I also understood the Constitution and the duties and responsibilities placed upon boards, governing boards of universities and colleges, and public, that is. And my first acquaintanceship came right after I was sworn in, and with the university. And one of the administrators said, "You need to be scheduled for a photograph for our archives and to hang in the hallway with the other trustees and the president." And I scheduled you for Saturday. And I said, "Gee, I can't do that. I can't do Saturday." And the answer was, "Well, that's when the photographer's available." And it came to me that this was indeed a different world, and that I was working for the administrators, and
staff.
They weren't working for me.
Yeah, they weren't working for you.
I was supposed to do what I was told, and that's the way higher education is, with some exceptions. Yeah, I'm talking about public now.
Right.
I have no comment on private. I think it's run quite differently. I think the U of M is run differently as well. I instantly begin to question, why am I here? And what do I do here? Well, I had 7 colleagues, and we were right in the middle of a presidential search. This was a whole new experience for me, but very exciting. And I saw great opportunities for reform of the system.
Sure.
And let's have a conflict of interest resolution. And I wanted that for the legislature. I still do. If I could take the time and command the resources, I'd seek a constitutional amendment providing for conflict of interest.
Right.
It's desperately needed in this state. Not that, and I'm not saying anyone is a crook. I'm simply saying I feel vastly more comfortable when I know a process is in place that assures accountability on financial matters for elected officials, and some appointed as well.